Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your December 2020 general reading. We are looking at the first half of December from the 1st through the 15th. This reading is for the water sign of Cancer. Welcome everyone. I hope you're all doing well as we head into the holiday season. Thanks for taking the time to tune in and for hitting that like and share and subscribe button, and for all that you do in support of this channel. Thank you so much. So this reading is for Cancer for the first half of December 2020. That's Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising if your Venus is in Cancer, or if you're cross-watching for a Cancerian. It's all relevant, but of course it's a general reading and they all resonate a little differently. So if you know all of your signs, watch them. They can each provide additional insight and perspective. If you find that any of the readings do resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading for yourself or as a gift for friends, family, and loved ones, they do make great gifts during the holiday season, and you don't have to leave your house to either give them or receive them. If you'd like more information on the reading services I offer, you can just click on the description link below, which has my email address attached to it. You can email me directly, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to hear from you. I do readings full-time, so I'm pretty diligent at working with people's schedules and my own to get personal readings set up as quickly as possible. So if you're interested, email me and I'd be happy to respond to you with more information within the same day. I do offer a wide variety of readings of all different types and lengths and costs. So those of you that are interested, I'll be happy to hear from you. Okay, let's move right into this. Cancer, the water sign of Cancer. Let's see what the first 2 weeks of December have in store for you. I am using the Tarot of Dreams and the Gilded Tarot to clarify. The deck is still relatively new, so they're slippery. Okay, Cancer. We begin with the Two of Wands. The Knight of Cups. Judgment. The Ten of Swords. The Four of Coins. And the Hermit. From the bottom of the deck, well, I pulled two cards, so I'm going to stick with that. We have the Devil and the Ten of Cups. So from the bottom of the deck, we have the Devil and the Ten of Cups, which represents the general focus, the general energetic focus for the first 2 weeks of December. So the Devil represents toxic situations or cycles that we find ourselves in that are difficult to break free from. It can represent addictions, mental health issues, toxic relationships, behavior patterns, that something that we keep returning to, kind of enslaved or chained to over and over again for what we get out of it at the moment, but it's in fact detrimental. Often in different tarot decks, the Devil is usually depicted as one or two people who are chained to something, or here they're in a cage, they're trapped. It represents negative cycles that are difficult to get out of, and so we keep returning to them over and over again. Not that the thing itself or the person itself is necessarily detrimental, but there's an imbalance of situation, an overabundance of attention or obsession. So the cycle keeps continuing, and it's quite negative and unhealthy. And the card that came with it was the Ten of Cups, which is generally the happy home card. It's a card that represents, because tens represent completion or the coming full circle of a cycle. Traditionally, the Ten of Cups is the white picket fence, happily ever after, the happy home card. Kind of, it represents home and marriage and family and children, and feeling like you're in a place where all of those things have come together and everything is working really well, and you feel very contented and peaceful and harmonious. But it's coming with the devil, so there's some toxicity or negativity and imbalance of energy that is either about the family or seriously affects the family. Like, for example, if someone in the family has, any kind of addiction or mental health issues, or, just negative behavior patterns. We have a choice that needs to be made about, the ending of feeling betrayed or feeling like this keeps going on and on and on. We have the Two of Wands here with the Ten of Swords. So the Two of Wands is, you can see these two doors here, there's stairways leading up to these two doors. A choice needs to be made as to which way you're going to go. But it's an active choice. Excuse me, because Wands is governed by the element of fire, and it's usually very action-oriented energy. So it's about actually taking steps towards, it's about making an active choice, basically. And what accompanies it is the Ten of Swords, which, again, tends to represent things that are ending or things that need to be brought to an end. The Ten of Swords is usually a card that's related to betrayals, feeling stabbed in the back, feeling betrayed, feeling thrown under the bus, and that either being at an end or needing to come to an end. Because it's all related to this cycle, something that just keeps going on and on and on, and likely has for some time. We have the Knight of Cups and the Four of Coins here. An interesting combination, because knights usually represent opportunities for change, because when you think about the role of knights in the medieval world, they were sent out, they had a mission, they had a quest, they were immediately charged out to begin to do whatever they needed to do to accomplish that quest. So they represent offers and opportunities for change, and the speed at which situations move as well. This is the Knight of Cups, which is the Knight of Water, which governs the emotional area of our life. Also the area of our life that deals with relationships. So the Knight of Cups comes charging in, making an offer of love, sweetness, dates, love, support, encouragement. The difficulty with, the challenge with knights is that they're not yet kings and queens. They've matured beyond that immature page energy of being the dreamers and coming up with the ideas, but not having enough knowledge or experience to actually put something into action. So knights have matured beyond that, but they're still very spontaneous and impulsive. This is the Knight of emotion. This knight is in love with, love itself. If you were going to be courted by the Knight of Cups, he'd come in, serenading you at moonlight with candles and bad poetry and flowers and all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the long-term follow-through, the Knight of Cups often has a challenge, because, the emotions may have died down, and the reality of things can sometimes make it difficult for the Knight of Cups to follow through with what he offers or promises, which is kind of what I'm seeing here, because what accompanies the Knight of Cups is the Four of Coins. Now, fours can represent stability, but they can also represent stagnation. And stagnation here, because you want to hold on to what makes you feel safe. You can see this person is, hoarding his 4 coins in this box, and he's showing them to you, but there's no offer to give them to you, because that would represent that he wouldn't, he or she, in giving any of these coins, because this used to be called the miser, well, it sometimes is still referred to as the miser card. Well, here's what I have, but I'm not going to offer it to you, because that means that I'll be out. So this card can represent personal selfishness, because you view any kind of giving as something that's unsafe for you. So it looks like, on the surface, there's this lovely offer, oh, all this, and I'm going to do this, and it's going to be better, and, but it feels like a reading I did for the November mid-month. I don't remember for who. But it's only an offer. Underneath that is this desire to not give out because it feels unsafe. It's like lip service from a selfish person is kind of what this looks like. And then we have judgment, which usually shows up when you're at a pretty significant crossroads, and whatever you choose to do is going to significantly change things in a way that you can't reverse. So think carefully about the choices you need to make. Judgment usually shows up when you're being called to answer for yourself, or called to a higher way of behaving or choice making. It's a pretty significant crossroads. In a courtroom drama, judgment would represent the point at which the defendant gets up on the stand to testify for themselves, and how they act and what they say could significantly change the outcome of something from one thing to another, or not. So it's about being at a crossroads and needing to make a pretty significant decision, and the outcome is kind of going to be based on that. And then we have the hermit, which can represent walking a solitary path. Here, particularly if this is about a marriage or a relationship, or a home situation where you can't really physically leave so much, it can represent just kind of withdrawing and spending more time to yourself to contemplate and reflect, to get wisdom and insight, because that's what hermits do, that's what monks do, that's what all monastics do. They withdraw from the normal noises of conventional day-to-day life in order to seek wisdom and insight. It can also represent judgment and the hermit together can also represent getting advice, seeking advice and feedback from, an elder or somebody that you view, getting some advice and feedback from somebody who's more experienced or older, or something of that sort as well. So let's clarify. Let's clarify the double. And I'm going to be using the Gilded Tarot Royale, I believe. Let's clarify the double and the Ten of Cups. The Page of Cups and the Knight of Swords. The Page of Cups is like the Knight of Cups, only more immature, because the Page of Cups isn't action oriented yet. He's just a messenger. So this is messages, verbal messages, little flirtations. The Knight of Swords is bringing news and information, and again an opportunity for change. So we're clarifying the double energy here. So what is the nature of this negative cycle here that is either about the home and family, or has such a significant effect on the home and family in a negative way? Around and around we go. The Page of Cups and the Knight of Swords, this is, kind of like the Knight of Cups and the Four of Coins. This is somebody who's promising. It's either somebody who's in a negative cycle, promising to change, promising to bring change. But they never do, or there's not a follow-through. There's no real change here, because the Devil is about cycles that are negative, things that, keep being returned to, and they're having a detrimental effect on your home and family, whatever that home and family is for you. It could be a family which includes other people, or just you and this person. It could be you as well, Cancer, kind of stuck in this cycle of doing something which has a detrimental effect on the people that love you and care about you around you, but you just keep returning to it over and over again. But there's promises here of change, but it doesn't really manifest in reality, or it's not evidential here. The cycle, the negative cycle, keeps continuing. Let's see what was next. The Lovers was the next card out, so definitely a relationship issue here. For some of you, it might be repeated cheating or something of that sort, because again, the Devil is negative. It could be addiction issues, overworking, anything that's negative to the person and the people around them. And Yeah. Let's clarify the Ten of Swords, which is the card of, you know, coming to an end of betrayal and heartache, or it needing to come to an end, because there's choices written all over this as well. Clarify the Ten of Swords. The King of Wands, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and the Nine of Wands, which is kind of the 11th hour card. It's sometimes referred to as the dark night of the soul, and again, it points to what the devil does, which is this just endless circle of negativity. The Nine of Wands, sometimes called the Wounded Warrior card as well, because he's portrayed often as a soldier or a knight, or someone who's fought already so many battles. He's got a variety of wounds, and here there is yet one more obstacle or challenge in front of you, which may have been what's happening here for you, Cancer. And he's withdrawn, he's taken a knee, he's holding on to a wand, and he's feeling discouraged and depressed and like giving up. Should I push through? Can I push through? Do I even want to do this? I want this to come to an end, because the Ten of Wands would be, coming to the end of a long-held cycle, and here it may be close to being to an end, but it still feels kind of endless. And this is attached to the King of Wands. This is why you're feeling, this has to end, this betrayal, whatever the form of betrayal is. And in a relationship and in a family unit, it can be, a variety of things. This is a general reading, so it could be, classic alcohol or drug addiction for some of you, repeated infidelity, somebody working, all the time and never having time for the home and family. And it could be a whole variety of things, and feeling like, I just want this to come to an end. I just want this to come to an end. And the Page of Swords is right behind that too. It's like we've got two pages and night energy for, messages and communication. But this feels like a relationship or home situation, whatever the situation is. I feel like it's been in place for quite some time, long enough for there to be more than just, oh, I promise, or oh, it's going to be different this time, or why are you so upset? I'm here, I love you, that sort of energy. And it feels like it's interminable. Let's clarify Judgment. The Ten of Wands. Yeah, that's what's all over this. Because we have the Nine of Wands here. When am I going to be done with this? Should I just give up now? I don't know what to do. And the choice is whether to bring this to an end or not, or how this is coming to an end. What's the next card out? The Two of Swords. A reluctance or a resistance to look at something head on, because once you take those blindfolds off, that blindfold off, and look at the situation for what it actually is, you can't put the blindfold back on, you can't unsee it. So it's about taking action and needing to take action. But as long as you keep your swords crossed and the blindfold on, then you can say it's anything. You can say it's something, you don't have to look at it directly, meaning you don't have to make choices and decisions and take action on it. Because obviously this is about home and family and a long-term relationship, or something that falls under that umbrella. And I can understand the reluctance to want to look at it, because maybe your intuition is telling you, or your fear is telling you that, the only real thing I can do is leave or end it, and I don't want to do that, so I'm not ready to look at this yet. because there's probably a reluctance or a resistance to make a final decision, because judgment represents that whatever you choose is final. You're not going to be able to undo it, unsay it, unsee it. Let's clarify the Hermit. Put these cards back in. This new deck I have, Tarot of Dreams, the cards are a little bit bigger than the standard, so they take up more space in my hands to clarify the Hermit. The Six of Swords, moving away from the challenge, moving away from the source of all the chaos and stress and conflict and pain, and into a healing space. And being in transition, but being on your way, because you're not quite to the other shore and on solid ground yet, but you're definitely moving towards that. So the Hermit is about taking time out to reflect, to figure out what the best thing is to do, gaining wisdom, maybe meeting with someone or sitting down with somebody and talking to them to, figure out, is there a way to achieve healing? Do I need to leave this situation? The Seven of Swords, being strategic, keeping things to yourself in order to move towards a goal. The Eight of Cups here, which is leaving, walking away. So it may be that either on your own or with discussing this or getting advice from someone else, it may be about, trying to come up with a plan as to how to, for a few of you it might be how to heal the situation, but I think for others of you it's okay, well, how do I get out of this situation? If this isn't workable, the Devil card represents a pretty significant negative cycle, and it may be that the only way for some of you to end the cycle is to actually leave the situation or relationship entirely. And it's about kind of thinking about that, thinking about how that would look, how it would go, but kind of keeping it to yourself or with another person. It doesn't look like something that you're sharing with the house and family and the household or your mate or anything like that. It doesn't feel like any actual actions are being taken during this time period. We're only looking at a 2-week period of time. But Cancer, it does look like it's something you're seriously considering and thinking about. Some of you may even be making plans to do so, either on your own or with a trusted friend or advisor or priest or counselor or something of that sort as well. Well, let's end by pulling some advice and guidance cards for Cancer. And for some of you, that King of Wands may be the other person. It may be a fire sign individual, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. This feels kind of like somebody, and it's unfortunate because kings and queens shouldn't act like that, but it feels like somebody who does, this feels like being in a relationship, whether it's love, romance, or some other nature of relationship, that does what they do when they want to do it, how they want to do it, with little to no disregard for how it affects the people around them, particularly in their home and family life. But on the surface, they present a certain thing or a certain message or a certain picture, but then they still go off and do whatever it is that they want to do. And that's what it feels like here. And this cycle, which looks like it's probably gone around and around and around for a while, needs to come to an end, as negative cycles of course always do, regardless of how long we cling to them. Advice and guidance for Cancer. Hermit, so you've got the Hermit twice here. The Hermit as advice. Yeah, exactly what it is that you are doing. Withdrawing, maybe not socializing as much. Well, I mean, socializing within your safe, however you socialize, it's not altogether safe these days, depending on where you are and how you're doing where you are. It can also represent seeking out the guidance of somebody who functions like the Hermit, somebody who's wise and experienced and that you trust. Let's see what the next card is. The Devil. A lot of repeating cards here, so we have the Devil twice too, because This is a seriously out of balance situation, and it's about getting wisdom and insight. There may be a way to heal the situation, maybe with the help of someone else. A counselor, therapist, or a priest, or someone of that sort. It may not be. That's the thing about general reading. Some of you, this might be a healable situation. Some of you, it might be the only way to heal it is just to focus on yourself. Because when you're caught in a negative cycle, especially if it's a negative relationship cycle, whether it's with a romantic one, or a friendship one, or a work one, we keep telling ourselves, that's part of the negative cycle of the devil. We keep telling ourselves, over and over again, well, if I just be patient, or well, this will change, or well, they said this, or, but in the meantime, you're still stuck in this cage. You're still kind of enslaved to it because you get caught up in this idea of waiting for the other person, waiting for the situation to change so that you can be happy. And that cycle can continue. People can waste years of their lives on these cycles in different areas of life. And it's about stopping the cycle in this situation, Cancer, would represent saying, I'm no longer going to make my happiness and mental and emotional and physical health and well-being dependent on somebody else's negative choices. I'm not even going to debate or argue or fight their choices anymore. It's now time for me to make my own choices and move into a better place based on my own choices. So it's about kind of breaking that cycle, Cancer. So Cancer, that's your reading for the first half of December. Wasn't a very cheery one, but it's a pretty clear one, and the advice is pretty clear too. It doesn't look like any real action happens during these 2 weeks. It might for some of you, but for most of you, it just looks like, the beginning of the process of trying to figure out and maybe working with another individual on, is this healable? And if not, then I need to move away from it, and how do I go about doing that? So in that sense, I hope it was helpful. Again, if any of these readings resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading or information, click on the description link below. Email me at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you and to hear from you. I do, again, offer a wide variety of readings. They make great gifts during the holiday season. And also popular this time of the year are the 6 and 12-month overviews I do, which give us kind of a look ahead, which a lot of people like to order towards the end of a year as we're looking towards a new and hopefully better year. So something else to keep in mind. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the December mid-month readings. Until then, stay safe and well as we head into this holiday season. Take care. Bye-bye.